Alright guys, I'm back in the room. I didn't want to make a video right now, but like, I thought I might as well, so never mind. But anyways, some crazy stuff going down right now. It's like do you feel like there's like a change in people's behaviour, like in the atmosphere? You know what I mean? It's like, when you look at Bible prophecy, you see what's going on around the world, and it's things don't seem the same way they used to be, do they? And as well as that, if you look at what's going on overseas and everywhere, I'm not going to get into details because I'm not going to make ever my videos about policy or politics. You know what I mean? Not about them. It's all going to be about Bible prophecy. But a lot of this, as we but all know, our brothers and sisters, has been already fulfilled. And it's like what um, they were talking about on the milk, like. And it was amazing. They were talking about the creatures that come out the bottomless pit, and they've got their breastplates on. And they were talking about they shan't harm the blades of grass. And I was thinking, what's the blades of grass? And they've got a stinger on them, like with many heads on or something like that. Someone said, and I thought, well, a head is the head of a spear. It's not a head. You know what I mean? It's like you have like I know because I'm into martial arts and shit. But the head of a spear is the tip. And a blade of grass is a blade. And it can be a thorn or a blade or a briar. It's all the same word, really. It just means a pointy thing that sticks up. That's the way the Hebrew language works. So we have to be very careful about like what we're saying. Like because parables are parables, and so and it was my brother Joshua who was talking about it on the milk, and all of his friends there. I don't mean to disrespect anybody there by not mentioning them, but it's just I know Joshua, so I always mention him. I do know you are. You know what I mean? I listen to you diligently. So I was just saying, it's like we're all thinking about the same thing, and it goes back to like all the grass. The grass, the pointy things, a blade of grass. So a piece of grass is called a blade of grass. So we have to look at the way the terminology comes in. So if you go back to, let's go back to Songs of Solomon. He says, you sit behind the shepherd's tent. And the shepherd's tent, right, is the entrance way towards the inner room of the tent. Yeah? But he makes you sit in the shepherd's tent. Is when you come in, your bed is green. Your bed's green. Why is it green? Because you're the shepherds. Yeah. I always got onto that as soon as I read it. But then you go back to Psalms 22 and he says, I make you lie down between green pastures. Yeah. So you're lying down between green pastures, yeah. Or in green pastures, beside still waters. So you're on the outside of the shepherd's tent. Yeah. Lying in the pastures like David was. Because this is Psalms, not Psalms 19, written about David. And we all know that one, don't we? It's like, you make me lie down in green pastures, make like me lie down beside still waters. You prepare an enemy before, sorry, you prepare a table before my enemies. You know what I mean? So you got that one, right? And then we can go about like, they were talking about what the difference is between grass is and what the difference is between trees are. And when you were talking about it, I was listening, and you know what clicked in my head? Like, don't get me wrong, I could be wrong, but it's just a thing. But yeah, they were talking about what were they talking about now? Anyways, yeah, they were talking about like like when it says, oh, distraction. Sorry, there's a boiler going off next to me. Yeah, when they were talking about like you know in Songs of Solomon, the lily that stands up amongst the thorns, and the briar that in Isaiah, whatever it is, can't remember now. Isaiah, that the briar, the fir tree that stands amongst the briar, and then he went to Revelation, which was talking about the beast that come out of the bottomless pit. Like, don't let them hurt any green thing or any green tree. But if you look all over the Bible, right, this is an amazing thing to study. I haven't studied it yet. This is just a thought. This is just a thought. I could be wrong, so you can all tell me off if you want. But isn't that the same all over the Bible? You know what I mean? Isn't that the same thing? Any green tree or you know what I mean? Any green. Don't hate the grass. That was what I was after. Or don't hate the tree. Now the tree is the watchman. The tree is, and they stand amongst the briars, and the lily is the one who stands amongst the thorns. So what's the difference between grass and briars? I've heard people say, "Oh, there's a briar of grass over there." People say there's a briar of thorns over there. It just means a pasture. That's all. But the lily is different because there's one lily that grows up amongst them who tells the pasture the truth. And me and my wife were speaking about it before, and we just thought, I think, wow, we need to discuss this more. Like, we're not saying we know everything, we don't. But yeah, so yeah, I'd love to speak to the guys about it and just discuss this because I've got about 5 or 6 different scriptures here who are freaking me out, to be fair, like about the thorn, the briars, and the trees and what it really means. But anyways, it was just a quick observation of the morning milk, and I was dying to scream out and go, yeah, probably would have just told me to shut up anyway. But yeah, anyways, yeah, can't wait to speak to you guys again, Matthew and fucking the lot of yous. But anyways, just got better, as you can see, because it wouldn't be so bouncy otherwise, would I? Yeah, I'm an arsehole. But anyway, love you guys, and see you brothers and sisters, and till next time.